Let's talk about MSNBC because the leftist network owned by NBC Universal is rebranding to MS Now, an acronym that stands for My Source for News, Opinion and the World. MSNBC is getting mocked for this online. You know, you can't really take MSNBC seriously. What do you make of the rebrand? Is it going to help them at all? Is it an attempt to try and boost their ratings?
It's not going to help at all. And Rachel Maddow and Joe Scarborough are trying to say, oh, the new logo looks cool, but it doesn't have the legendary NBC peacock, which is, you know, it gave them all the credibility that they had, which was none. And what's very intriguing about this situation, though, is that MSNBC changed to MS Now, but CNBC gets to stay CNBC. So it just shows you that MSNBC has been so unsuccessful that NBC wants to, you know, disconnect any way possible with that failing ship, that sinking ship, because they're going to still let CNBC use the NBC moniker. So it shows you that one network is doing exponentially worse than the other.
Yeah. Well spotted. Look, Alex, bring us up to speed on what's happening in Texas. We know Texas Democrats who left the state over redistricting have returned to Austin, ending a 2-week standoff. So what happens from here?
Well, so all the representatives, though, right now, Governor Abbott has it where they have to have a DPS escort because they're not under arrest, but they kind of are under arrest. And so now you have a lot of politicians doing political theater and sleeping, you know, in the Senate chambers. Or it's just what's going on is a lot of political theater, and the Democrats will do anything they can to not let this redistricting happen. And I actually kind of don't blame them a little bit because they are going to lose a lot of spots. I can see why this is their Hail Mary. This is their last chance to try to stop it. But Governor Abbott is so determined to get this legislation passed. They might as well just, in my personal opinion, quit trying to fight it, get it done, and actually do their job as politicians that they were elected to do instead of going and going to Illinois and trying to make it so they can't get any legislation passed because there's legislation for, you know, funds for flood victims of that horrible flood that we had in Hunt, Texas and Kerr, Texas, where, you know, a lot of people passed away. And because these leftists are not going in to vote on it, those people can't get financial help. So it's ridiculous what they're doing. And but at the end of the day, I'm not surprised because they really don't have a lot of leverage in this situation other than just not showing up to work. That's their only leverage. And they're going to do whatever they can to try to make it not get passed.
US President Donald Trump has pledged to issue an executive order to end the use of mail-in ballots and voting machines ahead of the 2026 midterm elections. Now, Trump announced on Truth Social, I'm going to lead a movement to get rid of mail-in ballots and also, while we're at it, highly inaccurate, where they're very expensive and they are controversial voting machines. Alex, what's the reaction to this been?
I love it. If you want to vote in this country, you should have to vote in person at a voting booth. I mean, the ability to, use fraudulent votes, because in certain states you have ballot harvesting where you can go to a nursing home and just basically fill out the ballots for these, elderly people. They don't even know who they're voting for. So if you love this country, then you should have enough energy to go to the polls on election day and go vote for the candidate that you want. But then you've also seen this narrative from the left where they want to try to make it where you can vote on your cell phone, as if that would be credible at all. That there would be all kinds of hacking, and I can't even articulate how many holes there would be in that process if they were actually going to use our phones to let us vote. So I agree with Donald Trump. These mail-in ballots are the reason, in my opinion, that 2020 went in not in a good direction for him, because legally they're allowed to go and harvest these ballots. So unless they stop that, mail-in ballots, because we go back to the stat in 2020, Joe Biden won all 50 states when it came to mail-in ballots, and Donald Trump won all 50 states, even the most liberal states, when it came to in-person voting. So you can see why it's very important. Yeah, that's why you can see it's very important for Donald Trump to make sure that if you want to vote for the president of the United States, you need to go do it in person on election day. So I love this. I hope it gets passed. And I really want to get rid of these mail-in ballots. It's just too much fraud surrounding it.
Finally, let's talk about the FBI. Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, has announced that she and her office have stripped security clearances from 37 current and former intelligence officials. Now, Gabbard accused them of politicizing and manipulating intelligence. Also, Attorney General Pam Bondi and Kash Patel are bringing on Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey as an additional Deputy Director of the Bureau. What's your assessment of this? What's this going to do for the FBI?
Well, I don't think this hurts Cash at all. I think Cash actually probably needs some support because, being the, a director of the FBI is going to be incredibly challenging. So I like that. I think that is basically necessary. And then when it comes to the security clearance, I think it was like 60 to 70, security experts said that the Hunter Biden tapes were fake and that was just fake news. So I don't think 37 is enough. I would like to see every single person that lied to the American public lose their security clearance, because that's why we have so many corrupt politicians. These people that have security clearance, they're hearing stuff and investing in companies because they have knowledge beforehand, before these deals happen. And that's why people like Nancy Pelosi is allowed to basically be a better stock trader than anybody else on Wall Street because she's talking to people that are in these meetings that have the security clearance. So it's really, if somebody's going to be disingenuous or dishonest, they need to lose their security clearance ASAP. So I'm happy with 37, but I'd like to see a lot more.
Alex Stein, it is so good to talk to you. Thanks so much for joining us.